Can I do my rant about baseball now?
Yes, you may do your rant about baseball now.
Okay.
So let's talk about a couple of things. We'll mix these two together. First,
Let me just get my voice ready.
this is going to be the rant of the week. So
Can
Fernando
I get some
Tatis.
popcorn?
Do you have your popcorn ready, Shane?
Yeah, yeah.
All
So
right.
let's talk about a couple of these things first. We're going to mix this together. You want to focus in particular about MLB pitchers, but as well we're
And
going to mix this
Tatis and,
and Tatis. So Fernando Tatis broke one of baseball's unwritten rules, as we like to
so
call it. Fernando Tatis swung at a 3-0 count when they were up by 7. And he hit a grand slam. By the way, the Padres hit a bunch of grand slams this weekend. And then the both of the managers were pissed off, and most of the players, including Trevor Bauer and many others on many
supported
teams
him.
that have supported him about this situation. Brandon, you have the floor, and then I'll go ahead after you with both of the pitchers and
Yes.
Tatis.
So I'm just going to start this off by saying I fully expect there are going to be people out there who are going to be butthurt about my opinions, but guess what? I don't care because baseball is the weakest sport in the world right now, in my opinion. It
Yeah.
is specifically pitchers. Pitchers need to stop being such babies. Time and time again, year after year after year, you have multiple fights that happen because pitchers throw a bad pitch and then they get the pitch just obliterated out of the ballpark by a
guy like Tatis.
guy doing his job, and then the pitcher who for some reason has like immunity to talk shit to him when they don't like the fact he just hit a home run, and then he gets mad. Stop it, pitchers. Be better. You are an athlete. You're not a baby. You're not a child. You're not in high school ball anymore. Be better. Now going on to Tatis, right?
Mm-hmm.
That situation is even more ridiculous. This is a situation about unwritten rules. Robert, last time I checked, a rule is not a rule unless it's on paper. Would that be correct?
Yes.
Shane, would that be correct as well?
Yeah, for the most part.
So, I'm sorry. Last time I checked in the rule book of MLB rules, nowhere does it say don't swing at a pitch ever.
Don't swing at a pitch when you're up by 7.
Right. If I'm up there and we're up by 7, and I'm up 3-0, and I see a pitch right down the middle, and my job is to be a hitter, what am I going to do? I'm going to hit the ball because it's my job. And as Trevor Plouffe said on John Boy Media's Talking Sports ball, when it comes to contract time, they're not going to reward you for walks.
Exactly.
They're looking at if you have one more home run on your list, and if it's a grand slam,
they're going to look at it.
They're giving you that money. And so
the arbitration. Rachel Luba, sorry to interrupt, talked about this on Corked Up this week about arbitration, and they had a long discussion about arbitration. I went through the first 20 minutes of that, and one of the things they talked about was like, that affects you at contract time.
Yeah.
The arbitrators are looking at stats. They don't care about anything else. They're literally looking at stats. They don't even watch baseball. They're looking at stats, looking at how many grand slams you hit, how many home runs, how many RBIs. This matters for you when you hit arbitration 4 years down the road or however long Tatis has before he gets to arbitration.
Speaking of steals, he stole third when they were up 7, up like 6 in a game in the fourth inning, and I applauded. So here's what I say about to baseball. Baseball players, hitters, keep hitting.
Yes.
Keep scoring. Keep flaunting it. Because if you got it, as they say, if you got it, flaunt it. And pitchers, if you don't like it, get good. That's it.
And we're not talking about every single pitcher, right? We're talking about these certain pitchers that do these kind of things. A couple things. One, I was thinking when this Tatis thing happened and we talked about it, later that night I was thinking about a certain promotion by the MLB, a certain ad campaign called Let the Kids Play, and they did that last year. It was a really smart campaign about, hey, just let these kids play and have fun. But then when you're actually playing baseball and wanting to actually let these kids play, they're not letting them play. And with the personalities that these guys, Tatis has a great personality, right? Him celebrating, having fun, hitting grand slams. That's what we want to see in baseball. We want to see personality. How many of these young guys in all of these sports, especially baseball, there's just so much young talent there and so much young personality, youthful stuff. Even the veterans have amazing personality. And, we talked about this when Tanner came on. We talked about the future of the MLB and all these things, and we talked about the marketing of the players. That Grand Slam can be used as a marketing tool. Instead, this is the conversation we're having about it. It's so dumb.
We very easily, sorry to interrupt, but we very easily could be having a conversation about how amazing Tatis is to watch. Like, I could be easily saying, like, and I will still say, like, I love watching him play, but I also have to say, it saddened me to see a guy who just pimped a home run into the Grand Slam just effortlessly sitting on the bench and getting talked down to by a veteran for hitting a Grand Slam, when usually he should be like getting, like, the whole bench should be like, yeah, like, we got a young guy who can hit a Grand Slam, like.
Right. And we're up and how Brandon, here's one more thing that Rachel Luba talked about, and I think this is another piece that we're missing, and a lot of people are missing as well. This is really important. I think you can vouch for this more than Shane and I, as I'm sure you watch a bit more baseball. At least I can vouch than I do. How many times is it where a team's up by 7 and in the 9th inning the other team rallies and finds a way to win?
A lot. Like,
that Grand Slam potentially could have helped them win, because imagine if the other team could have actually come back. Like, then if you took a walk in that situation and the other team came back, then it's like, oh, you shouldn't have taken a walk.
Well, I'm sorry. If I'm a fan of the Padres there and I see him come up and he takes a walk, I'm being like, dude, that pitch was right down the middle.
Hit it.
Also, I'm sorry. The ball was in the strike zone. It wasn't going to be that was not going to be a four. That was a
it was not going to be a walk.
It wasn't going to be a walk. It was going to be a strike. And so then he's 3-1. And you know what the pitcher's then doing? He's like, oh, okay, I'm now going to get you out.
I'm not going to throw another strike.
It's such a ridiculous rule, because it's like the goal of baseball, as the Padres skipper so elegantly said the next day, backtracking on his crap talking of his player. The next day, talking to the media, he backtracked and said, the goal of baseball is we want to beat up on the other team, and the other team wants to beat up on us. I'm not going to hold back my players. And I'm like,
but you just did the night before.
Why wouldn't you? So you're going to say that now, but you're in the moment. You're going to be an old fart. You're going to be someone who believes in the unwritten rules. I'm so over it, and unwritten rules and moments like these are what makes me want to stop watching baseball.
It literally every year, well, especially this year, I'm kind of done. Like, I'm just going to wait till October. I'm kind of done, because and look, we love baseball. We interviewed the hitting coach of the Orioles, and we had a great interview with him. We love it here, but the reality is the sport cannot act in this form. It's just going to keep losing fans, especially young fans like us who are still growing with the sport and love the youthfulness of it. Shane, what's your thoughts on this rant here?
This reminds me of a time when I was a player many, many moons ago. And I had this coach that I will not name. And he always said, never swing at the first strike. And I was like, why? I only got 3 strikes. Why would I waste one? Let me hit the ball. So there's one time he's like, yeah, remember, don't swing at the first strike. And I was like, yeah, okay. First pitch, ball. Second pitch, it's coming at me, and it's right in my zone, up and outside. I was like, oh, perfect. I'm going to take a hack at it. I get an RBI double, okay? And then I go on to score myself after a couple more hits. I was like, yeah. And, my teammates are like, yeah, let's go. Yeah, yeah. What does my coach say? Instead of saying, oh yeah, good job. He goes, why'd you do that? I was like, what do you mean? He goes, you swung at the first strike. I said, yeah. He goes, well, you can't do that. I was like, dude, I got an RBI double. And he said, and he's like, I know, but yeah, this is the rule we have. And I told him to take a hike.
Yeah,
and he got mad at me. And then he got mad at me. And he's like, what did you say to me? He's like, yeah, I said that. And I was like, and he goes, okay, I'm going to bench you for the rest of the game. I said, all right, cool.
fine.
I did my job.
I just scored you 2 runs.
Yeah, I would have.
And you're mad at me.
I would have been like,
I will not admit fault for this. Screw
Yeah.
off, dude.
I would have been like, yeah, fine. Like, you bench me. Guess what? My batting average in this game is amazing.
And my teammates were not mad at me. They were like, yeah, that was kind of awesome. And that's why, I look at stuff like this, and as a pitcher, if guys hit home runs off of me or whatever, I never really cared because it happens.
Yeah.
Wow, shocker, I know. But the fact that when I was 12 years old, I acted more professional than professional pitchers, that tells you something. Because
Now, again, we're not talking about every pitcher, but either
no,
way.
I know, but guys like him, because I've been in a situation like that where I was pitching, the count was like 2-0, and then the other team, they were winning, and then this guy hits a home run off of me, and I'm pretty sure they scored like 3 runs off of it. And as the guy was rounding third, I gave him a high five. I was like, yeah, nice hit, man. You know what I mean? Because it's like, hey, give credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But no, let's complain and moan about he hit a great slam off of me. Grow up, okay, dude. You're a pro. Like, relax. It happens to the best of them. I don't know. It's just annoying. I mean, like you guys were saying, this could be, like, oh, look at how great of a hitter this guy is or whatever. But instead, it's a conversation about, how the pitchers and the pros are a bunch of wimps. So, yeah.
And then, Shane, talk about also the other piece. I mean, you kind of mentioned it in some of your stories, but the managers, and both of the managers being like, no, this isn't right. And then for most of the players across the league being like, no, this is great. We need this in our game. What are your thoughts on that piece?
Yeah. Baseball is the one sport of all the sports that I have played where I definitely had managers who were like, oh, we got to stick to the status quo. And, they just took it way too seriously. And I never understood, because for me as a coach, I want to, because I have coached baseball. I like to inspire my guys to have fun, to be better. And I like to have fun with them and play with them as they do that, and, develop their skills with them. And, I've had guys too who, they step up into the box and they're like, they let their first strike go. And I said, oh, why'd you do that? That was your pitch. And they said, well, my coaches have always told me to do that. And I was like, why? Swing away. And they said, really? And I was like, yeah. You get a hit, you get a hit. I don't care. They're like, oh, okay. And that's just like this like I said, this status quo almost among baseball managers. It's just, I just don't get it, really. I mean, if you're in the pros, and you want to let your first pitch go just because the pitchers are so much better and you really want to see your pitch first, that's a bit more understandable. But like, in little league or even high school, what is the point? And the reason I bring that up is because this culture of, managers being, sticking to all these rules and, taking it way too serious. It's like permeated the sport all the way down to the little league age, which is just sad, honestly.
Really unfortunate.
Yeah, because it's just like it's not fun, you know. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because baseball to me has always been, the sport that's kind of relaxed. You just, you're just out there having fun in the summer.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I'm at
I feel
bat.
like this
Okay, you know what I mean?
this season itself, like all the fun that you usually see in the season is just gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not there. It's like everybody's angry, everybody's pissed off, everybody's just like not happy. I just at this point it's kind of like just get through the season. I mean, as Trevor Bauer said in his last episode of his podcast, he said of his vlog.
Right. Which, by the way, his vlog's been amazing also,
Oh,
by
yeah,
the way.
his vlogs have been very interesting because it's like an inside look. He called this season a fake season of baseball, which is pretty accurate. But it's also interesting because it's kind of an inside look, and I don't agree with him all the time, but I've realized over time that he's really the only player who's like actually real in baseball, or one of the only players who's real, who doesn't like put on an image. He's very competitive and he plays hard. I mean, he's the first person to say he's not a people person, but it's an interesting inside look,
And then speaking also to finish off this, on a couple of those pieces from the vlog that have also frustrated me, not only with just like what his business is, and obviously momentum's been an awesome look, especially for all of us who enjoy the game of baseball, just like an awesome look at the inside pieces of the sport, these great personalities that he's had on there over the years. But it is those things of like routine and what does a pitcher do? Like it gives you a pitcher's perspective on routine, and then him missing all these starts and all that, and just his constant frustration with that alone. Because I think one of the things that I've realized in watching his vlogs and stuff over the years is just how much of baseball is so much more focused on routine than anything else. Whereas football and basketball, there is some of that. Baseball, routine is so much part of the structure for any of these players, pitcher or hitter as well.
Yeah.
And we just don't have that this year, and it's really frustrating.
Yep.